in order for us to remove the what I call do-nothing caucus of black aldermen that we have that I call a carcass.
There you go.
That's the way that I refer to them, because everybody knows what a carcass is, right?
Yes, we do.
All right. Okay, so next we have at the round table Ms. Tracy Johnson, who is running for alderman in the 24th Ward. I will ask you the same question. Why do you want to become alderman of the 24th Ward?
Okay, so first off, let me just go in relation to the carcass. I am an exterminator. We do have a pest control company for our family business, so that was just a hilarious joke for you to mention that we have a carcass city council that's going on right now.
Yeah.
But in reference to the reason that I'm running for alderman of the 24th Ward, the reason I'm actually running is because I'm an activist first. I'm an activist with Midwest Community Council, the longest West Side organization the longest community organization on the West Side of Chicago, which is now 74 years old. So with myself and the organization, what we've always been doing is going out in the community to find out what it is that the residents are asking for from our elected officials that are in office. With the organization that's been the oldest organization on the West Side, and when we cannot have meetings with elected officials, we have to get on a waiting list. When we have to continue to make calls and emails, it's just a tremendous amount of disrespect. So I said to myself, along with my organization and, people that's around me that mentors me, the best thing I can believe that we can do is, because what's happening with city council, we have nothing but politicians in office. They treat us all like it's a corporation or like it's a business, and the love and the activism and the care has been taken out of providing services for the people. So with me being a community servant, I said, well, I feel that I can be an activist to get into office, to just be able to provide our people with the knowledge, the process, and the information on how it's supposed to happen when you have an alderman that's from your community, that looks like you, that thinks like you, and that cares about you. So what my goal is, running for alderman of the 24th Ward, I want to be able to be an activist to get the people involved, because this process is real. The voting process is real. A lot of our people in the community in the 24th Ward, a lot of them don't even want to vote. A lot of them don't vote. And they all say to me when I'm out there, what should I vote for? When we put people in office, they don't do anything. Every time I go out and vote, what am I voting for? Nothing reflects me. And my message is, the agenda is, I am like you. We are the same. I'm from the community. I live here. I breathe the same air. I see our issues that we go through every single day. These things that we should not go through in the 24th Ward when you have an alderman that's there in place to make sure that you have the resources in your community. There should be any reason that we have continued closed schools within our community. No job opportunities, no contract opportunities for the small black businesses that we rarely have within the 24th Ward. Mm-hmm. The foreclosure properties that's in the community that we have in our 24th Ward has risen over the amount of years. And I feel that as an alderman, if you are real and caring about the people, those are job opportunities for those that are out there without a vision or an option to say, well, hey, what else can I do? Because the young guys that's out there, and a lot of people don't want to go out there and reach the young guys, what they want to call them, the ones that's standing on the corner, the ones that's creating the terror within our communities. Where are there opportunities?
Okay. All right. We're going to come back, and we're going to have comments from our next guest, Nicole Johnson. We're running for alderman in the 20th Ward. We've got to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear from them. And then we're going to talk about what's the difference in the aldermanic offices where you would take place and what we always complain about, what is happening or not happening from the aldermen that are representing the black community. When we come back from the break, we'll be back in just a moment.
More with Mark Wallace up next on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Search for trapped residents, survivors, or casualties. The Republican chairman of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, Bob Corker, believes the Saudis were responsible for the disappearance of a Washington Post contributor at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. But President Trump said he saw no reason to cut off arms sales to Saudi Arabia because of it.
If we don't sell it to them, they'll say, well, thank you very much, we'll buy it from Russia, or thank you very much, we'll buy it from China. That doesn't help us, not when it comes to jobs and not when it comes to our companies losing out on that work. But there are other things we can do.
Of course, Correspondent Bill Michaels reports federal investigators confirmed overpressurized natural gas lines were the source of the deadly explosions and fires in communities north of Boston last month.
The preliminary report from the National Transportation Safety Board says Columbia Gas workers failed to account for the location of critical gas pressure sensors in Lawrence on September 13th. The overpressurization led to more than 80 explosions and fires across Lawrence, North Andover, and Andover that killed one person and injured 25 others.
U.S. stocks tumbled for the second straight day as the market's recent downturn gets worse. Indexes in Europe and Asia also skidded. I'm Barbara Cusack.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Sabino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-461-4545. That's 800-461-4545. 800-461-4545. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Their price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
The late President Ronald Reagan has returned as a hologram.
Remember the hologram of Princess Leia in the Star Wars movie?
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
Now President Reagan has appeared as a hologram at his presidential library in Simi Valley, California.
Nancy and I went 7 miles up a switchback road. We got to do
Well, the audio really is Reagan, taken from speeches made during his lifetime. Then the Hollywood company Hologram USA worked with a silicon cast of the 40th president's head, photographed by 300 cameras, digitally placed on the body of an actor before backdrops for 3 scenarios.
Thank you all very much for being here.
I'm Evan Haney.
The remains of a German-American who invented the first submarine able to dive and resurface by itself have been exhumed in Panama. Julius Krell's remains will be reburied alongside U.S. war veterans near the Panama Canal. I'm Barbara Cusack.
The national debt is now over $20 trillion. What happens next? Rising inflation drops in the dollar's value. Some experts say another crash is coming. You can fight this, not with stocks or bonds, but with gold and silver coins in an IRA from Augusta Precious Metals. Call 855-858-5807 and learn how an IRA backed by physical gold and silver can hedge against inflation. Call Augusta Precious Metals right now at 855-858-5807 and get a free gold IRA guide. Call 855-858-5807.
Results may vary, not a solicitation for legal services. If you owe the IRS back taxes, payroll taxes, or have not filed your returns, the IRS will get you. They can take your property, take you to court, even put you in jail. With one call to WAL, you'll never need to talk to the IRS again. Our average client settles for about 10% of what is owed. We offer free face-to-face consultations in your local area. Call 800-727-0433. That's 800-727-0433.
The talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
What's your story?
We stopped in Tennessee to get gas. White lady behind the counter. Ma'am, the pump won't come on. You know, she said, well, I can always call up sheriff.
No, racial profiling happens every day, and a majority of Americans don't realize how bad it is. We have been asking you to share your racial profiling story on video. Now you can see what has been happening to our people. Visit WVON's YouTube page and check out the What's Your Story channel. Submit your What's Your Story video at WVON.com. Be sure to like our Facebook page and subscribe to WVON's YouTube channel. What's Your Story? Tell the world.
Podcast, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, bloggers, national news, and fake news.
In a world that has become noisy, WVON is the trusted voice for the times we live in. Everybody has an opinion, and none is more trusted than the commentators. Monday, Kimberly Agoan. Tuesday, Amara Inya. Wednesday, Carl West. Thursday, Abdul Hakeem Shabazz, and a guest commentator every Friday. The Commentators, weekdays at 9:20 a.m., 5:20 p.m., and 11:55 p.m. Only on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
Life and Love.
Thurgood checking in from the South Side. Welcome to Life and Love.
Fantastic, dynamic show as always. To use in the basketball Final Four tournament, instead of fast break, take your time in lovemaking and relationship and work the clock and get off a good shot.
I like that. Thurgood.
Life and Love with Dr. Carla and Dr. Dan. Friday evening at 6, only on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. The Talk of Chicago is 1690 WVON. Berwyn, Chicago.
Did you know breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed cancer in women? October is National Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Schedule a mammogram today.
From the Xfinity Studios at WVON. We're your original social media. Hashtag Mark Wallace on 1690, The Talk of Chicago. WVON.com. The website. Check it out.
You know, I was wondering, if you could keep on, because the force, it's got a lot of power, and it makes me feel like it makes me feel like that.
Back to the program. I'm Mark Wallace, your host and facilitator of this edition of the People Show. We are in our Millennial Roundtable. We're talking with candidates who are running for alderman in the different wards. We have talked to Ebony Lucas, who's running for alderman in the 4th Ward. We've talked to Tracy Johnson. We're talking to, like they finished. And Keena Collins is on our live line. And we have Nicole Johnson, who is running for alderman in the 20th Ward. And so we're going to hear from her as to why she wants to run for alderman, why she wants to become an alderman of the 20th Ward. Welcome to the program, Nicole.
Thank you. It's nice to be here again.
Thank you very much for being here. So tell us, why do you want to be an alderman?
Absolutely. That's, like Ebony said, that's the million-dollar question that we're often asked. But my reasoning for running for this particular office started in my early career as a student at the University of Michigan. And I spent some time in Washington, D.C., and receiving numerous numbers of calls from people on the ground in the Chicagoland area wondering, how can we get this done? How can we get that done? And that, for me, signified one thing, that I wanted to get close to the people, because on the federal level, I realized that there weren't many options for people on the ground on the south side of Chicago, on the north side of Chicago. So fast forward, my senior year of college, I was home during Christmas break, and we always hear stories of young people that return home, but they aren't able to go back home because they've been murdered on the streets of their hometown. And so that very well could have been me. I was walking to a corner store, and just before that, my mother stopped and asked me when I was walking to the dog, just a pointless conversation. And had it not been for that conversation, I would have been caught in the crossfire. This happened December 27, 2011, at a Church's Chicken that left 2 people dead and 4 wounded. And so it was at that moment, graduating again from this great school, knowing and really understanding that my community was in crisis. And so this was my senior year of college, and I said, I'm coming back home for sure. I want to do good work. I thought back on my experiences that set me on a path to success, and they were my educational experiences. And I also knew early on that there were a lot of my peers that didn't have those same opportunities as I did. And so if I wanted to play an integral role in ensuring that they had quality education, and that could, like I said, set them up for success. And so I started teaching as a classroom teacher, then finding that my influence was still very limited. My kids still came to classroom with issues. And I never forget when Christian shared with me, he said, Ms. Johnson, don't tell anybody, but the police raided my home and took my father. And so I said, okay. Still believing in education, how can we use schools as centers of transformative change in our community? Went away again, went to grad school at the University of Pennsylvania, studied education policy, coming back again, committing, reinvesting my skills back into my community. Fast forward to December 2016, I was sitting home and read my news and learned that the incumbent, this was a third consecutive incumbent to be under federal indictment in the 20th Ward. This is a community that raised me, that built me, and time after time we were being let down by people that we entrusted, people that had built the trust of so many people that said, choose me, and here's why. Believe in this system again for me this one time. And doing that for the third time, I said, enough is enough. And so what I am contributing and bringing to this office is, most importantly, is bringing back leadership with integrity and making honest choices. I spent a lot of time building relationships with young people that have experienced immense amount of trauma in their lives. And so in order for them to listen to me and believe when I tell them that 5 times 3 is 15, I have to build trust with them. And so that's something that I am very comfortable with and will be doing moving forward as Alderman in 20th Ward.
All right, wonderful. And we're going to be getting into some of the issues and some of the things that are important to you. But let me just say that we've been in this spot, every 4 years. Mm-hmm. And every 4 years, a different group of people say we want to make a difference. And we do want to make a difference. And there is a way that we can make a difference. And I think that we cannot make a difference by continuing to repeat the same things that we have done election after election after election, getting the same results. And so what we have done is we have established what we want to institutionalize that every other group has done. Unions do it. Republicans do it. Even Democrats do it. Institutionalized Democrats or the establishment does it. Except for our community. We are the most or the most fractionized community, but we also have the largest numbers of voters in the city of Chicago that are registered than any other ethnic group. Mm-hmm. Yet we are last in every indice that you can think of, from education to economics, which tells me that we have been doing something wrong. We have 65% of the electorate that does not participate. They're not participating because they're uninformed. They're not participating because they're lazy. They're not participating because they don't know any better. I believe that 65% of the people who are registered to vote that don't participate have no hope in the system or have no hope in the people that they've entrusted their confidence in time and time again. So I believe that what we must do is we have to return hope to those people. And you as candidates, you as people who are aspiring to be representative of those people, have an opportunity and also you have an obligation to re-engage them. But I think that we all have a collective obligation if we are going to make this successful. I don't think that we should lose this opportunity to make a difference. We have people like Carrie Austin, Anthony Bill, Howard Brookins, Walter Burnett, Willie Cochran, Derek Curtis, Pat Dow, Jason Irvin, Tony Folks, Christian Telefero, Michael Scott, Roderick Soria, Emma Mitz, Gregory Mitchell, David Moore, Sophia King, Michelle Harris, and Leslie Hairston.
Call them by name.
19 black aldermen that have failed the black community. Now, that is partly their responsibility, and it's partly our responsibility because we allow for them to continue to do or to disenfranchise our communities. So, how do we beat back big money? It has happened before. It's happened 3 times. It just recently happened in the primaries in New York, where you had a part-time bartender, community organizer, take out the number 2 congressman who was next in line to be the Speaker of the House.
Yeah.
This was a person who went out and got the vote out.
That's it.
Over somebody who spent $2 million.
Yes.
In 2010, we had a Google executive run for governor in California, spent $160 million.
Wow.
And lost because her opponent got the vote out.